Welcome to the Providence College Podcast. My name is Joe Carr. Today, we will relive Commencement Weekend 2022 through the words of the speakers who inspired us at a series of ceremonies and events celebrating those who earn Providence College degrees as members of this class. Let us begin with Friday night's on-campus commencement ceremony for those receiving graduate program and School of Continuing Education degrees. The commencement speaker was the Honorable Maureen McKenna Goldberg, a 1973 PC graduate who is a justice of the Rhode Island Supreme Court.
Good evening, and thank you for that kind introduction, Father. Father Sicard is a difficult act to follow. I am delighted to be here this evening to commemorate this important occasion and to congratulate all of you, the graduates of the class, the School of Continuing Education, and the Graduate School of Providence College. I am impressed. The degrees that were conferred this evening upon all of you will last a lifetime and reflect the excellence of this institution. 49 years ago, at the commencement of the class of 1973, Father Peterson began his remarks by noting that when the name Priscilla Alice was called, Providence College would make history by recognizing its first class of women graduates. The girls came to Providence College in September 1971, 50 years ago. And the Dominicans, with their prayerful presence in campus life, were comforting. The college made every conceivable effort for a smooth transition to co-education. It was interesting. The college encouraged transfer of upper-class women, and I was among them, having transferred from Salve Regina College. Before that, my high school, Bayview, and college, Salve Regina, was all women. The class leaders, student athletes, and faculty were women. So the fact that many considered the arrival of women on campus at Providence College to be momentous, or that there may be competition between the men and the women, never occurred to me. And when it finally did, I ignored it. And I have ever since. Even later in life, when I came to realize that the path for women was not always smooth or friendly as one would hope, I came to realize what a valuable lesson I received from our beloved Alma Mater. What has stayed with me for all of these years is that Providence College was so welcoming to me and all of the women students who arrived in the autumn of 1971. The Dominican fathers knew our names, and they greeted us with vigor. I will tell you that it was different. There was a single dorm for women, Aquinas Hall. The urinals had been removed from the bathrooms, but the spaces were not tiled over. They were just filled in with cement like big gray arches in the walls. They stood out. And then in the dorms, there were the ironing boards. Every floor had a room with ironing boards. We were baffled by this. In the early 1970s, we dressed in blue jeans, t-shirts, and sweatshirts, just like you do today. There was no irons and no ironing going on. So the boards were a mystery, as were the security measures that were in place. The doors to Aquinas Hall automatically locked every evening, and they were alarmed. Heaven help you if you set off one of those alarms. There was a uniformed security guard in the lobby at Aquinas Hall. He was certainly the only male who ever got into that building. It was a fortress. We were asked to sign in and out and indicate where we were going and when we would be back. Well, we ignored that completely. Upon reflection, however, I'm still not sure that these measures were in place for the benefit of the parents of the girls, or if there really was a possibility that the battlements would be breached. I often wondered what Providence College was like before the girls came. That fall, we had the most beautiful weather. Throughout the autumn of 1971, students were outside, faculty was outside, the friars were outside, the windows were open, and the drinking age was 18. That helped. It fueled a lot of enthusiasm, and during the first few months, the male students in Ma and McDermott halls would yell girls' names out the windows at the top of their lungs all night. There would be silence, and all of a sudden, there would be a cacophony of names being called. That was 50 years ago. Time marched on, the issues were sorted, and this historic transformation to coeducation at Providence College has burgeoned, and it is a stunning success. I am proud to have been present at its inception and delighted that the school has recognized the significance of its 50th anniversary of welcoming women. And by the way, in 1973, Dave Gavitt, Ernie DiGregorio, and Marvin Bonds took the Friars to the Final Four. It was a hell of a party. Without question, the last 50 years of success are reflected in the caliber of tonight's graduates. There are honors graduates from the School of Continuing Education, inductees into the members of the graduate school are equally distinguished with master's degrees ranging from mathematical analytics, theological studies, and education. There are, however, more women than men. In my profession, there are still more male judges than female because the males had a big, long start. The first woman to become a member of the Superior Court of Rhode Island was 1956. The next one went on in 1969. I was number 4 or 5, and I went on in 1990. When I joined the Supreme Court in 1997, I was the third woman in 300 years. However, women now make up a majority of the Rhode Island Supreme Court. We welcomed 2 women last year. One of them was my former law clerk of 20 years ago. There will soon be 4 women justices on the United States Supreme Court, and more women than men attend law school. Because most of the lawyers who are retiring at this age are men, the ranks will be divided before long. It is fitting, however, that we not leave this evening without recognizing the accomplishments of today's honorees. The degrees you received tonight were earned in the upheaval of a global pandemic. That is a monumental accomplishment for both you and Providence College. That you persevered through the last academic year or 2 is a testament to your singular dedication and strength of character. Take that with you when you leave tonight. You earned it. Although none of us is versed in the details of your individual struggles or your successes, we know it was not easy. Embrace the triumphs, acknowledge the mistakes, and approach life with enthusiasm. To the women graduates, those of you who are wives and mothers, daughters of aging parents, there was no handbook available for you to guide you in reaching this achievement. Just childcare, lunches, rides to school, and a mountain of laundry. All the while, you pursued a degree, and I commend you. To the husbands and fathers, often the primary earners in stressful jobs, who are determined to get ahead through higher education, we congratulate you, who are often the unsung achievers in our community, who grab snippets of time to work towards the degree you received tonight at great personal sacrifice. Your perseverance and determination is manifest in this accomplishment, and I congratulate each of you. To those who followed immediately from college to graduate school, let's have a show of hands here. How many of you? I am so impressed that you would do that. And we need to recognize the sacrifices that those who are in the back of this auditorium made to get you here this evening. For many of you, the degree you receive will lead to greater opportunities in your chosen field or open the doors to new career paths. That is the value of higher education. For what it's worth, most humbly and respectfully, my advice to you is to take the tools for success that you acquired at Providence College and put them to work for the rest of your life. Graduation speakers routinely remind graduates that it's okay to make mistakes and there will be rejection and failure on some level. But you've heard that before. You've lived it. Your perseverance has carried you forward, so trust yourself and your judgment. Today's world will present many challenges for all of us. Being honest with yourself and others can be a built-in guidepost for tough decisions. Utilize it. Use the lessons you've learned here on campus. Appreciate what you wish you had done differently and add these experiences to your toolbox. And above all, never forget where you came from. Congratulations and good luck.
Saturday morning's academic awards ceremony provided the opportunity to recognize several class members for outstanding achievement in their academic pursuits. Philosophy professor Edmund Dane, winner of the college's Joseph R. Acino Faculty Teaching Award, gave the faculty address.
Thank you. It's a great honor and pleasure to have the opportunity to address you today. My job, first of all, is to greet you all on behalf of all the faculty of Providence College. So, greetings and congratulations on your fantastic achievement. Give yourselves a round of applause, please. Now, it's traditional, as I understand it, to use these brief remarks to sum up some lesson or lessons that encapsulates the essence of a Providence College education. But, as any of you who've ever taken one of my courses will know, there is really only one thing I am ever interested in teaching any of you, whatever the subject might be. And in fact, I would say that it's the only thing that a college or a university like Providence College has any business teaching you whatsoever. And that, very simply, is to think for yourselves, never to rely on anyone else's judgment, always to question and always to make up your own mind. The role of a college, the role of a university, is never to tell you what to think. It's only ever to tell you how to think, to teach you how to think for yourselves. And so it seems to me that the greatest confidence I can show in you, our students, as you graduate and go on to whatever opportunities await you next, and the greatest confidence I can show in my colleagues, the wonderful faculty of Providence College, and the greatest confidence I can show in Providence College itself and the fantastic education you've received here through your own hard work over the last 4 years, is to encourage you, as you go on to whatever awaits you next, to do just that. And so I want to end with the words of Kant that he uses to sum up the motto of the Enlightenment: have the courage to use your own intelligence. Congratulations again, and thank you very much.
5 members of the class of 2022 finished with perfect 4.0 grade point averages, tied for highest in academic rank. One of those students, Aisling McGuire, a double major in management and finance from Trumbull, Connecticut, addressed the audience.
Good morning. Congratulations to the class of 2022, and this group in particular, on your academic achievements. When thinking about what message I wanted to share today and how I can include the accomplished students I share this honor with, I thought back to an email I received from Dean Godin a few weeks ago. It listed the following 5 letters: M-A-B-A-M. Unfortunately, it wasn't the day's Wordle hint. It was an email greeting to Matt, Andrew, Mackenzie, Brian, and me. A couple notes about me to help you understand where my mind immediately went. First, I enjoy identifying patterns, and second, I love basketball. Therefore, my brain read the greeting as Mamba, and I began to think about the Mamba mentality and how it's contributed to my success at Providence College. The late Kobe Bryant coined the term to describe his work ethic and approach to perfecting his craft. He explains that the Mamba mentality means to be able to constantly try to be the best version of yourself. It's a constant quest to try to be better today than you were yesterday. The beauty of the mindset is that it does not only apply to sports. The Mamba mentality is more of an approach than anything else. It's about attacking what's in front of you with passion and purpose, without fear and doubt, and without an ounce of quit. Not only does anchoring my address to the Mamba mentality weave my co-valedictorians into the core of my theme, but it helps convey how I set out to approach my time at PC and the devotion that higher education deserves. As a first-generation college student, several unknowns made navigating the entire college process challenging for me. But there has never been uncertainty regarding my work ethic and attitude towards education. My appreciation for education stems from observing my parents work hard to provide my siblings and me this opportunity, and since I can't afford them a beach house yet, I hope as preliminary form of repayment, you take pride in hearing the profound role you played in your children's successes. As I humbly stand up here, 1 week after Emma achieved her master's degree, and 3 weeks after Brendan was admitted into the PC class of 2025. I'm forever grateful for their commitment to our education. For as South African political leader Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Allow me to reiterate, you can change the world. It's no secret that we are graduating into a world of anger, unrest, and division. But as my business school classmates know, for every debit there's a credit, and the books must balance. Therefore, I argue that within this darkness lies an opportunity for you to spread hope, love, and light through the power of your PC education. As Providence College students, we've been blessed with an education rooted in faith and focused on developing leaders. The Dominican values underpinning the PC education separates PC students from others and provides a foundation for human flourishing. It's what makes Providence College a place you never want to leave, but remain forever proud to say that you came from. And I'm grateful that I have the privilege to soon share that I'm a Providence College alum. To this distinguished group of students that has already excelled and achieved so much academically, I implore you to have confidence in your abilities, use your talents, and never stop learning. For me, applying the Mamba Mentality has involved personal sacrifice, discipline, humility, and complete focus and understanding that being the best version of myself in the little day-to-day tasks will enable me to contribute to something greater. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the significant role and sacrifices by others in my life. I'd like to thank my mom and sister for taking my calls as I run from a philosophy marathon to club basketball, lamenting about the mountains of work and lack of hours in a day. My professor's constant willingness to provide me with the resources to succeed. And my friends Liz, Catherine, Marley, Schuyler, for your great patience and understanding of my goals, as I know I certainly exhausted my allotment of sorry I can't tonight texts. I'm standing here today only because of the support of the many. Enough about me for a little. I thought I'd begin to conclude by sharing on a lighter note some ways I've proudly observed the Mamba Mentality at work in the Providence College community. An early example that came to mind was the termination of all of us as first-year PC students, as we all read the entire Odyssey, cover to cover, not skipping a word, by the third day as a college student for Civ. The dedication of PC students and faculty to get in a few extra steps to avoid walking on PC's grass. Providence College's resolute commitment to excellence that has advanced the college and led to remarkable milestones, such as celebrating 50 years of women this year. And finally, being the best student section, tenaciously covering Taylor Swift, You Belong With Me, better than the game before after Nate Watson posterized any defender who dares to step in the paint. On that note, I'll wrap up with 5 more letters. UWTFF. These letters embody something much bigger than the 5 I began with, and bigger than only the class of 2022. They represent having the genuine support of a loving, caring community that encourages us to continue to get better each and every day in our pursuits and discovery of God's providence in our lives. As you leave PC, I challenge you to be a better analyst, student, accountant, friend, son, daughter, teacher than you were the day before by intentionally applying the Mamba Mentality. And during the moments when you feel tested, remember all that you have been blessed with and all that you have accomplished at PC. You earn this and you deserve success. So welcome challenges and chase your passions without an ounce of quit. Getting back to those 5 letters, in my best Cooley impression, us, we, together, family, Friars. I extend my sincere congratulations to you all. God bless and go Friars.
Sunday morning's commencement marked a welcome return to the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence for the first time since the class of 2019 graduated. Here is the commencement address presented by College President Father Kenneth Sicard.
The Honorable Sabina Matos, Lieutenant Governor of the State of Rhode Island, the Honorable Jorge Elorza, Mayor of the City of Providence, members of the clergy, members of the Providence College Corporation, the Board of Trustees and the President's Councils, members of the faculty and staff, alumni of Providence College, honorees, parents, families, and guests, and graduates of the class of 2022. Good morning and welcome to our 104th commencement exercises. My heartfelt congratulations to all our graduates on their achievements and to the 6 remarkably accomplished individuals we will recognize today with honorary degrees. As we take this moment to celebrate the class of 2022, we should also thank those who made it possible. I ask all of today's graduates to stand and recognize the critical role that your families, your friends, and your professors played in helping you achieve the goal you realize today. Let's give them a round of applause. During this past year, we've enjoyed an ongoing celebration of the enrollment of PC's first class of women who enrolled as first-year students 50 years ago in the fall of 1971. 2 members of that class are on this stage: Ann Manchester Moloch, the college's executive vice president, and Dr. Wanda Ingram, senior associate dean in academic affairs. I'd like to ask them to stand and be recognized. While we often reference that first class of 4-year women students, the class of 1975, we should also acknowledge the 23 women who joined the PC community as transfers in the fall of 1971, earning their degrees 2 years later. And 2 representatives of that group, members of the class of 1973, are also on the stage with us today, representing their classmates. Please join me in acknowledging Professor Karen Holland of the PC History faculty and the Honorable Maureen McKenna Goldberg, Justice of the Rhode Island Supreme Court. Could you stand? The celebration has been wonderful, featuring opportunities to recognize the accomplishments of the women of Providence College, past and present. In a way, events like today's reinforce what we all know to be true. Providence College is a place where the impact and influence of women cannot be overstated. Most of the people who will speak from this podium today are women, including the 4 deans of our academic colleges and our commencement speaker. We will present honorary degrees to 3 women, and 2 of our highest in academic rank students are women. Most importantly of all, as has been the case for many years, most of our graduates are women. The theme of this year-long celebration is then, now, next. The women of the class of 2022 represent both now and next. We cannot wait to see what you add to the great legacy established by the women of Providence College who have come before you. So congratulations. I would like to speak for a moment directly to our graduating students, as you are the group we celebrate today. First of all, walking into this building today brought back fond memories of that incredible basketball season we just finished. Go Friars. And as I look toward that end of the building, in my mind's eye, I see hundreds of PC students joyously belting out that Taylor Swift's tune, drinking responsibly as one on a cold winter's night. That's a memory that will stay with me forever, and I hope for many of you. Now, to state the obvious, your time in college was not entirely what you expected. Most of you were approaching the halfway point, finishing your second year of Civ, among other milestones, when COVID-19 changed everything. And what followed was unthinkable and undeniably difficult. The poet Maya Angelou has said, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated." And defeated, you most certainly were not. Quite the contrary, in fact. When I think about the students of Providence College during the pandemic, one word will always come to mind: resilient. When it comes to academics, what you have accomplished is remarkable. And by the way, only possible because of the extraordinary efforts, especially during your junior year, of the faculty, a group of people who likewise showed incredible resilience. You have truly earned the degrees you will receive in a few minutes, and they will serve you well, as they have generations of Providence College students before you. You also found ways to enjoy the shared experiences that make the college experience transformative beyond the classroom, even though that may have been in some ways even more difficult. I remember Dean Sears' Friday afternoon emails setting the stage for the weekend to come, as his staff in student affairs worked so hard to provide opportunities to engage you as a student body. Dean Sears would always note his observations about students finding ways to build their relationships with each other, as he often pointed out, with their eyes smiling above their masks. It's our students who relentlessly pursued normalcy to the extent that was possible, and that made all the difference. There is a spirit that flows through the Providence College community, and the experiences of the past 2 years prove beyond question that it will not be denied. Carry what you have achieved and the way you have achieved it as a badge of honor. You are prepared, you are strong, and you are resilient beyond measure. As you think about your lives, as you pass this important milestone, I would like to ask you to give some thought to one of the most fundamental Christian values: love. As you know, because you're about to graduate from Providence College, St. Paul, in speaking of virtues and charisms, makes it clear that the greatest of these is love. God's love for us is reflected most powerfully through the way we treat others, putting others first and resisting the temptation to focus on our own self-interests, dying to self. Why, you may ask, do I bring this up today? While the world in 2022 is full of incredible opportunity, and I have no doubt that your dreams will be realized, and uneasiness, sometimes manifest in troubling ways, is also part of your lives. This is one of the ways you can make a difference. By living lives of charity, of love, putting others first, you will help make the world a better place. This is our calling as people of God, and the opportunity to be models of charity is one of the things that can set us apart as members of the friar community. Acts of charity do not have to be grand. Think instead of a mindset, a practice that becomes a habit. This is how Pope Francis characterized charity in his Ash Wednesday homily in 2016. He said, "It is not giving something in a paternalistic way in order to assuage the conscience, but to accept those who are in need of our time, our friendship, our help. It means living to serve, overcoming the temptation to satisfy ourselves." What a beautiful description of something so simple, yet so profound. And I hope that one of the things you take away from your time at Providence College is that you found people who would share their time, their friendship, and their help, and that you have been that person for others. There's a deep joy to be found in giving of ourselves. The world needs more of that. I hope we can all agree. And not only because we are, God willing, emerging from a pandemic that has strained our patience and challenged our optimism, but because it is our shared calling as people brought together by divine providence. My hope, my prayer for you, members of the class of 2022, is that you find joy in all aspects of your lives, that you continue to set your sights high, and that fulfillment and meaning accompany the achievement of all your goals. God bless you, and God bless Providence College. Congratulations.
Stephanie O'Brien, a 1984 PC graduate who serves as president of the National Alumni Association, welcomed the class of 2022 as the newest members of the college's alumni population.
As the president of the Providence College National Alumni Association and a proud graduate of the class of 1984, I am honored to officially welcome the class of 2022 to the ranks of Providence College alumni. Over 50,000 graduates have passed this way before you, and today their collective talents contribute greatly to every career field and community imaginable in every state across our nation and in countries across the globe. We are confident that you, members of the class of 2022, will follow this tradition of excellence and achievement, making your own significant contributions to society. You've already demonstrated that you are a class filled with grit and perseverance, having completed a notable part of your college education during a worldwide pandemic. It's an understatement to say that I know many of you will be sad to be leaving this place where you have thrived academically and socially, made many memories and lifelong friendships. I promise you that your ties to PC do not end today, but can, in fact, become stronger. As I said to my daughter when she graduated, the only trouble with attending PC is that eventually they want you to leave. But as I watched her friendships expand beyond her Block Island roommates to include graduates she had not met while at PC, and I know from my own experience being active with our Alumni Association, she will continue to meet and include more and more of us, and I wish the same for you. Whether you are the first in your family to attend Providence College or part of a long legacy, we are all part of the Providence College family. I am part of a sandwich generation. My father, Bill Thompson, is a member of the class of 1959. Two of my children are PC graduates, Tommy, a member of the class of 16, and Kira, 18. Their dad and many aunts and uncles are PC grads. Their grandfather, Frank O'Brien, is an economics professor here. I know that my family is not unusual, and I would like to ask our legacy students who have an immediate family member already in our alumni ranks to stand to be recognized. Thank you. To those of you who are starting your own tradition with PC, especially those of you who are first generation, please know we are grateful that you chose to become part of the PC family, and we look forward to a time when you bring a family member into the alumni fold. It is with a great sense of pride that I convey to every one of our new alumni and your families the sincerest congratulations of your fellow alumni. I send every best wish for your happiness and success, and please remember, as it was on the first day you set foot on campus as a student of Providence College, you are forever a friar. May God bless you and your families, and go Friars!
The next speaker at Sunday's commencement ceremony was Senior Class President Eliana Cunha, a double major in biology and global health from Fairhaven, Massachusetts. She shared these comments with her classmates.
Welcome family, friends, faculty, staff, alumni, honored guests, and of course, graduating members of the class of 2022. It is an honor and privilege to speak with all of you here today. As I sat down to write this speech and began to reflect on college, especially during the early days of COVID, one quote from A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens kept echoing through my mind. The first line of the book, which juxtaposes the era of the French Revolution in Paris and London, goes like this. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, it was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. There's something I think we all universally feel when we hear a quote like this, a kind of understanding about what it means to be human, about what it means to live in this absurd world of pain and suffering, of joy and love. College, just like life, has truly been the best and worst of times. The pandemic made sure of that. There was something so isolating about the way Zoom made us compartmentalize our lives. While it was very convenient to sleep until 5 minutes before my 8:30 lecture and walk over to my desk in my pajamas, when class was over and I logged out, there I was again, alone in my room. There was no walking to lunch after class with your best friends, or whispering to your girlfriends before class about the cute guy you met last night, or giving your classmate a look of despair when your organic chemistry professor asks, "Any questions?" Pretty straightforward, right? When we came back to campus, it was the months of Zoom University that made me appreciate all these little moments and the big moments even more. From class dances and McPhail's nights to SRW and senior week. From storming this court as Big East champs to graduating on it. We are so lucky to have this senior year that we did. As I look back on these last few years, what stand out to me is the sense of community that carried us throughout our time here. In trying to scale mountains of uncertainty about our lives and our futures, we always lifted each other as we climbed. A few examples of this come to mind. Dean Sears sending uplifting emails to the entire campus, as well as Duncan to the Marriott and pizzas to Brad's. Professors checking in to see how we're doing, how we're really doing, and providing us with extra support when we needed it. Various student clubs raising money for local COVID relief organizations, and just being there for each other when times got tough. We hear the phrase Friar family a lot, but don't always take the time to think about how much meaning these two words hold. But what would the Friar family be without women? This year marks 50 years of women at PC, and when I hear the phrase, lift as you climb, I can't help but think of the thousands of PC's female alumni, faculty, staff, and students who have inspired and supported each other throughout the years. As I look out into the audience, I am filled with excitement as I think about all the incredible things the women in my class have accomplished and will accomplish. As Meghan Markle said in her speech at the UN Women's Conference, it is said that girls with dreams become women with vision. May we empower each other to carry out such vision, because it isn't enough to simply talk about equality. One must believe in it and work at it. In a society that often pits us against each other for the way we look, the way we talk, and the way we present ourselves, let us empower each other and lift each other as we climb to new heights and continue to shatter glass ceilings. I'd like to recognize and thank a few of my favorite lady leaders, my Vice President Jamie Murphy, Treasurer Kate Zenobio, and Secretary Kelly McMahon. I'd also like to thank my former Vice President, who for 3 years continuously supported and encouraged us despite being the only guy on our exec board, James Lombardi. Could you four please stand? Let's give him a round of applause. Lastly, I'd like to thank my family, my friends, and everyone at PC who helped freshman year me, that young girl with dreams, become the woman with vision that stands before you here today. It's been a pleasure to serve you as your class president these past 4 years, and an absolute joy to be your classmate and to grow up with you all. Thank you for the best of times, but thank you for also being there through the worst of times. There's no other group of people I would have liked to experience this age of foolishness and wisdom with. Congratulations, class of 2022. Go Friars.
Sunday's ceremony concluded with a commencement address presented by Val Ackerman, the commissioner of the Big East Conference, of which Providence College is a charter member. Ms. Ackerman, upon whom PC conferred an honorary degree last year, provided these stirring, inspiring remarks.
Thank you so much, Father Sicard. I can't begin to tell you what an extraordinary privilege it is for me to be here today. And I want to thank you, Providence College, and this incredible class of 2022 for inviting me to join in. I think the only Providence event more exciting for me to be at this year than this one was that triple overtime win over Xavier at the Dunk back in February. Go Friars! Let me start out by saying how proud we are to have the Friars in the Big East Conference. As some of you may know, the league has been through so much change since Dave Gavitt, former head men's basketball coach here at PC, came up with the idea of a basketball-centric conference back in 1979. But PC's membership straight through from those early years until the present day has been a reassuring constant and honestly a key to our longevity. I want to recognize Father Sicard, his predecessor, Father Brian Shanley, and honorary degree recipient, Bob Driscoll, especially for their incredible leadership here on campus and within our league. They've all done so much to build PC into a nationally respected athletics program and to advance the ideals that make college sports so special for athletes and fans alike. It's truly an honor to be associated with all of them, incoming AD Steve Napolillo and this great school. I also want to recognize all the honorary degree recipients, and most of all, thank the family members who are in the audience today. I'm sure you're all thrilled this day has come and exceedingly proud of your class of 2022 graduate. I'm sure the students in the audience have mixed emotions today. I know I did when graduation day was happening to me 41 years ago down in Charlottesville, Virginia. I vividly remember packing up my Volkswagen Beetle after all the pomp and circumstance had died down and starting the long drive north to my hometown in New Jersey, where I planned to spend the summer while figuring out my next life move. I couldn't have felt more displaced than I did that day. College life represented my whole world, and in one fell swoop, I was picking it up, and leaving it all behind. While I suspected I would probably return to my alma mater from time to time for visits and reunions, in my heart, it was dawning on me that an important chapter in my life was over, and that after some me time down at the Jersey Shore, I'd have to find a way to switch gears and move on. I cried the whole drive home. But as you can see, I survived. So if you happen to be feeling the same way tomorrow or whatever your move out day from Friartown may be, my advice is to relax, take a deep breath, accept that entirely new chapters are about to unfold for you, and embrace the journey. Trust me, it will be a journey. And be forewarned, you're going to hear that word, journey, a few times during my time on this stage. When Father Sicard asked me to share some remarks today, I quickly accepted, and not just because he's one of my bosses, but also because I believe so strongly in what a school like Providence offers to its students, especially through its offerings in the humanities. I was myself a liberal arts major at UVA. I opted for an interdisciplinary degree called Political and Social Thought, which gave me a broad understanding of the people, thought strains, and contexts that have driven U.S. and world history. In my experience, young people today are similarly well served by an education that challenges them, that challenges you, to think broadly, to develop a globally informed outlook, and to become creative problem solvers, equipped to make good decisions and to address society's most pressing needs. If it becomes a lifelong education, all the better. Truth be told, some of the most pressing decisions you'll face in the coming years will be your own. Where to work, Wall Street, healthcare, a tech company, Teach for America, the ministry, the sports world, or something else entirely. How about where to live? Will you rent or buy? Have you decided whether or not to go to grad school? Will you get married? If so, to whom? How about having kids? And if you do decide to become a parent, how will you juggle the demands of your family with your job, your attempts at a social life, and everything else that life will throw your way? No one can make these decisions for you. They're highly personal, and each of you will face unique circumstances where the counsel of others may not be right for you in the end. My advice is to be methodical and do your homework, but also trust your instincts. You graduated from Providence College, so that means you have the tools to make good decisions, whether easy or hard. When I graduated from UVA in 1981 with my political and social thought degree and 4 years on the women's basketball team among my credentials, I had some general ideas about my future. I knew I wanted to go to law school. I was burning to travel, since playing basketball precluded me from studying abroad. And I had a vague hope that someday I'd find myself back in sports as a career. Well, all that came true eventually, but it didn't happen overnight. On the contrary, my life after college was anything but a straight line. In fact, 7.5 years passed between my graduation in May of 1981 and the start of my first job in sports as a staff attorney with the National Basketball Association in November of 1988. I had several stops along the way, playing basketball in France, going to law school in Los Angeles, working at a big corporate law firm in New York City, getting married in New Jersey, and then taking a sabbatical and doing some more job hunting before the call from the NBA came in. You heard it here. There isn't always a direct route to your destiny. So keep your dreams as a North Star, but get ready to zig and zag and embrace each and every experience you have along the way. Another reason I'm excited to be with you today is so I can laud Providence College's decision to celebrate 50 years of women here in Friartown. It's, of course, very inspiring to know that members of the PC class of 1973 are here to mark the occasion. The advancement of women in society is, as you might guess, a topic near and dear to my heart. I've been working in the sports world for more than 30 years now, and so I've had a front row seat on the progress of women in the sports industry and in the world at large. My lens on this goes back decades. When I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, the chances for girls to play sports in this country were few and far between, especially in team sports. My dad was a high school athletic director, and that was my ticket because he was very supportive of the sports interests of my brother and me. We did a lot of backyard and basement stuff, but in terms of organized sports in my hometown, there was really nothing. Title IX was passed when I was in 8th grade, and while the enormity of that transformative law was lost on me at the time, it directly impacted my life as it enabled me to get a scholarship after high school to go to college and to play basketball at the next level. At that time, women's sports at UVA were just getting off the ground, and there simply wasn't a lot there in terms of support for female student athletes. In fact, in basketball, there was a total of 1 scholarship. And in my first year, I shared it with a teammate. Here's how it worked. I got tuition and fees, and she got room and board. So I got to go to class, and she got to eat. The good news is that support for women's basketball and other women's sports grew quickly at Virginia while I was there. And so by the time I graduated, most of my team was receiving full or partial aid, and other arrows were pointing upward. Happily, women's college sports, including in the Big East, have come a long way in the 40-plus years that have passed since I left Charlottesville. My postgraduate career has also allowed me to see firsthand how the role of women, and people of color especially, has progressed in the sports business, in many ways mirroring trends that have taken place in our society. When I joined the NBA legal department as the 4th in-house and 1st female lawyer at the league, the office was fairly small, and the legendary David Stern, the league's longtime commissioner, was in the early years of his tenure and just starting to elevate the league into a global behemoth. But there were very few women in the league office, or the sports business for that matter, for me to look up to or learn from during my formative years. My mentors, who were the senior leaders at the NBA at that time, were all men. But I was very fortunate because, great mentors that they were, they took a shine to me and opened doors that enabled me to advance. I moved from the legal department to the commissioner's office and later to business affairs, and so I was able to participate in many of the league's most exciting initiatives during the 90s. After 8 years of working on the men's side, David and the NBA owners appointed me in 1996 as the first president of a new league called the WNBA, and my career continued to progress from there. The WNBA celebrated its 25th anniversary last year, and although the league has had its share of bumps along the way, it's been exhilarating for me to see interest and traction in women's pro basketball building and to see a noticeable increase in the respect people now have for the accomplishments of women athletes and what they represent as role models for fans of all kinds. It's hard not to take pride knowing that the journey of women's team sports in this country was advanced by the WNBA and what we did in basketball a quarter of a century ago. In fact, my journey has taught me this: the world is made better when diverse voices are at the table, when respect, tolerance, and equity are prioritized, and when the virtues of each individual are nurtured and allowed to shine. I hope all of you will come to embrace and embody these values as well. As I noted a few minutes ago, each of the graduates here today will have your own life journey, and no two journeys coming out of this class will be exactly the same. For example, some of you may wear high heels and some of you may wear sneakers. Think about that one. But as you consider what you'll do, what sort of impact you can make, and where you'll leave your mark, I hope all of you, if and when you have the chance, will embrace the role of leader in whatever form leadership may present itself to you in the years ahead. I can tell you that more than ever, we need people in our world, men and women alike, who are ready and able to take the baton and figure this stuff the hell out. Sorry, Father. We need all of you to lead, and we need you to do it with vigor, optimism, and courage. It's a fact. We live in a complex, diverse, and fast-changing world. American society is not a monolithic block of people and lifestyles and opinions. On the contrary, our country has been enriched by the cultures of Europe, Africa, Asia, Latin America, and other parts of the globe. And so our strength as a nation depends on our ability to recognize and respect the differences of others and to understand each other on terms other than our own. We may well have in the audience today the future founder of a transformational technology company, or a young scientist who develops the vaccine for the next pandemic, or the future president of a prominent Big East school, or the commissioner of a sports league, or a budding stateswoman who goes on to become the president of the United States. It could be one of you. But no matter where you land, know there's a huge need in our world for energetic people who are good at what they do, who can make smart decisions when decisions are called for, who don't panic when confronted with difficult tasks, and who, by their words and deeds, contribute positively to the world in big and small ways. I urge all of you to be them guys. If you think the world is full of problems, find a way to be a problem solver, and I'll guarantee you have permanent employment. Don't be afraid to look critically at a situation and think to yourself, would a new approach work here? How can this be made better? There's room in almost any field for blue sky thinking and fresh ideas, so never, ever shy away from using your imagination and embracing a spirit of curiosity and innovation in whatever it is you decide to do. All of you made it to this ceremony for a reason. The skills and the traits that got you here today are the same ones you'll need as you move on to your next phase. So go out and keep using them, and cultivate some new ones along the way if you have to. And know that the people who have made or are making a difference in their fields frequently have all or many of the following qualities. They're smart, decisive, and intellectually curious about the world. They take pride in the quality of their work. They're ambitious and want to be the best at what they do. They're hopeful and excited about the future. They don't give up easily. They have good people skills and know that relationships matter. They matter a lot. And they recognize that opportunities aren't just handed to you, and that ultimately you have to work for what you get. I can assure you there will always be others who want what you want and will work very, very hard to get it. So you have to be prepared to put in your time and make sacrifices if you want to achieve your goals. If your journey is anything like mine, it'll be marked by persistence, sacrifice, adversity, failure, breakthroughs, professional growth, and personal awakening. May the luck of the Irish and the luck of the Friars be with you as you embark on your journey. Congratulations to all of you. Stay healthy and safe, and go Friars.
Thank you for listening to the Providence College Podcast. Today, a celebration of the class of 2022. For producer Chris Judge, I'm Joe Carr. We conclude today as commencement did, with the Providence College alma mater, sung by graduating senior Daniel D. Struther, Jr.
Mother of truth, we proudly pledge to thee undying love and steadfast loyalty.